Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Connecting with Kim. We have another great show for you today. Thank you for joining us on Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network. You can catch the audio of our show on Sun Radio 96.3 FM in Sun City Center or on your favorite streaming platform. And before we begin, you know I always love to give a shout out to my sponsor, the Spring of Tampa Bay, for providing my on-air wardrobe, which includes clothes and jewels and whatnot. If you have not been to the Spring Boutique located at the corner of Swann and Henderson, please do so. All net proceeds from the two stores, the thrift store and the boutique, go to support their mission, which they have been doing since 1977, of providing sanctuary and services for survivors of domestic violence and their children. So this is really important work they do. I hate to say that during the pandemic, and because of the pandemic, it's become an even more important role that they play. So please give them your love, give them your support. You'll be making me happy. So we have a great show today. I'm so excited. We have another first-timer on Connecting with Kim, and I love it when we have first-timers on Connecting with Kim because then they get to see what this is all about and how great the folks at TBAE are in producing this show. And so I would like to introduce to you my guest, Kerry Kriseman, who is the, I won't want to get this wrong, Public Relations Manager for Creative Clay, which is located in St. Petersburg. And this is another first for us because we are having somebody from Pinellas County on the show. Welcome, Kerry.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, we're thrilled to have you. So I really like to give my guests an opportunity at the top of the show to share a little bit about their life journey, because you just never know when somebody out there is going to share a school or a work experience or wherever you're from originally, because hardly anybody's from Florida. You take as long as you want, and then that will bring us to the conversation that we're here to have today.
All right. Well, wonderful. I am a St. Petersburg native. I was born and raised here. I left for 1 year to go to college in Pittsburgh. The school I went to, we had a family connection there, so I thought I'd try it out. And it was mostly a nursing school, which was not what I was studying. So I came home and went to USF, and I'm a proud bull. I graduated from there with a degree in mass communications broadcasting. And while I was working at attending USF, I was working at the St. Petersburg Times, which is now the Tampa Bay Times. So while I interned for Fox 13 in 1991, it was a great summer. I learned a lot doing that. I did end up working for the St. Petersburg Times right after college in their marketing department. So I worked there for about 10 years, and then our daughter was born in 1997, and so for 10 years after our son was born as well, I was a stay-at-home mom, which I didn't stay at home. I immersed myself in the community and taking care of the kids and a lot of volunteer work. And my volunteering focused on working with the Junior League of St. Petersburg. I was a very active member there and serving on several boards, including the Art Gallery of Pinellas and Pasco, Family Service Centers, Great Explorations, Children's Museum, and it just gave me a lot of experience, and I think it helped me focus my path, which wound up at Creative Clay in 2008. I reached out to them. My son was going to kindergarten and my daughter was in 4th grade, and so I figured I need to go back to work, and I'm still a full-time mom, but not throughout the day. So I started at Creative Clay, and I'm their public relations manager. So I'm using my communications degree. I think for my job, I've always done some sort of writing, and looking back now, I think I have always been geared to doing community work and nonprofit work. And so we also raise puppies on a volunteer basis for Southeastern Guide Dogs.
Oh my, I have a neighbor who does that.
Okay, all right, we'll have to talk afterwards, see if we know each other. We've been doing that since 2009, so I just love it. But with regard to Creative Clay, I fell in love with their mission and vision. They serve adults with developmental disabilities and neuro differences, and they serve them through arts programming. And so the people who come to Creative Clay's community arts program, they come with an expressed interest in art and making art. And so my job is to help tell the story of Creative Clay and tell the story of the artists and the story of our partnerships with other organizations in the community and how we promote inclusive arts access. Years ago, people with disabilities were often kept away, and
they weren't allowed to mainstream.
No.
In any way.
And that's how Creative Clay started in 1995. It started with a caseworker and her partner, her business partner. They saw the need. They saw that some of the people that they were representing, you know, as caseworkers had nothing to do during the day, no meaningful activities, and with
no way to express themselves.
No.
Because they still had an active inner life.
Exactly.
You
and
know,
with one,
regardless of whatever developmental or whatever other issues they were having, they still had an active life internally.
And they deserved it.
And
they deserved to have, you know, an active life and, you know, quality of life as well. And so with one client and a grant of $1,000 from the Knights of Columbus in St. Petersburg, Creative Clay was born. And so 27 years later.
Well, you know, I had the honor, you sent me a short video about Creative Clay, and I must admit, until you made contact and I saw that video, I didn't know anything about Creative Clay. And I remember watching the video and then getting back to you right away and saying, well, you know, number one, this is the kind of thing I want everybody that watches Connecting with Kim and listens to Connecting with Kim to know about, because I didn't know about it. And also because, you know, the video was just moving. It was just moving to me, and it was exciting. And I said to myself internally, I cannot go there because I already have too much artwork on my walls, and I know what will happen if I go there.
Exactly.
You know, but so since something's wrong with my earring, folks. I'm just making a little adjustment here. So since 1995, Creative Clay in St. Petersburg. So let's go more in depth about what goes on at Creative Clay. I mean, I've seen it, but let's go on about what goes on there. Who's our audience? Who do we share it with? And, you know, all that kind of thing.
All right. Well, our core program is Community Arts Program. That's our daily program, Monday through Friday, and the member artists come. And they show up in the morning between 8:30 and 9, and they stay throughout the day. They bring their lunch. They have a locker where they put everything, and they come into the classroom. And, you know, within the first hour or so is usually maybe a sharing time, or maybe just a little bit of instruction if there's a certain theme we're trying to share, like maybe a holiday or a special day, like September 15th through October 15th was Hispanic Heritage Awareness Month. And we just had an exhibit, and it's still going on, based on Hispanic heritage, and we have 3 Hispanic artists whose art we're showcasing. So the teaching artists may speak about that or another subject. And then some of the artists go out into the community, you know, based on their desire and their funding, because most of the artists who come to Creative Clay are funded through the state Medicaid waiver program, and we do have a private pay option, but like I said, most of them are funded. So it's based on that, but they will go out in small groups to a gallery, to maybe a coffee shop where they've created art before, or to a park and draw in plein air, which means outside, and just drawing what they see around them in their environment. You know, we have a lot of great partnerships also. We have a great indoor climbing place, a rock climbing gym called Vertical Ventures, and they've just offered their space for some of our artists who want to come and work out. They've got workout equipment and such, and use that. Nice. Yeah, and they just walk over there. We've had partnerships with the Y. So for those artists that go out into the community, we have about 3 or 4 buses that people drive them out and they go around, or they might go to the library. The other artists stay in and create. With COVID, things had to change a little bit,
right.
And we're lucky to have the space to be able to spread out so that we can remain safe, because people with disabilities are 4 to 5 times more likely to have adverse effects from COVID than the average person.
Right.
So we take great care in wearing masks inside still, and taking masking breaks. We're lucky to have a beautiful courtyard right outside with picnic tables and donated fans and such that they can enjoy time outside and take a break from the mask. But with that said, they stay in and create. We have a music room full of donated music instruments from people in the community who are just generous, and they can come and express themselves that way. You may walk in and there might be an impromptu dance party going on, but there's always work, and there's always artists creating work. And in the art world, there's something called hand over hand. That doesn't happen at Creative Clay. There's not a teacher guiding anyone's hand in creating.
They're free to create
exactly.
what they want.
They are the artists. They are working artists, and they are also taught how to market their art for those who want to learn. You know, you can walk into our Good Folk Gallery, which houses a lot of our art and current exhibits, and you may have a member artist come out and come talk to you about their art and sell their art. And our artists make 50% commission on all works sold.
That's wonderful. And where does the other 50% go to help
it goes back into
play?
Programming.
So let me understand something. Are they working in all types of media? Okay.
Yes, they'll work in. We have one artist, JJ, who his preferred medium is Sharpie markers. So he creates in Sharpie, and a lot of times large-scale pieces that will kind of look like a stained glass, the way he outlines in dark, Sharpie then fills in with different colors.
Yeah.
We have some capacity, the name creative clay, a lot of people think you
It's
walk
just
in and
pottery.
it's not.
Like, yeah.
It's not. We don't even have that in there, but we have capability to go off-site and do pottery and clay, or even make the clay and then it's fired off-site somewhere. So painting, pencils, painting on wood, painting on acrylic, and just sketchbooks.
Well, I think the name, I'm not sure how the name came about, Creative Clay, but I think the name is kind of interesting because regardless of the media you're working in, when you take this lump of something that's nothing, it's just a lump, and you create something out of it. And that's what you do with any media, right? You take a canvas and you create something. You take a piece of paper and create something, out of this just everyday object, right?
Yeah, metaphorical.
Yes, metaphorical. I love it.
Art.
I think it really fits.
Yeah. So we, every other month our theme of our exhibit changes. So in November we're going to have surrealism, and have it. I wouldn't quite say it's a partnership, but some greeting cards that member artists make will be for sale in the Salvador Dali Museum gift shop. So that'll be upcoming in November.
Awesome.
And but we're still enjoying the Hispanic Heritage Month exhibit, and getting lots of attention around that. People are really interested in it and interested to see the art that those artists create. And every month we have a Friday art market on the first Friday of the month. So that's something else that teaches the artists how to produce and execute an art market. They create the art for it, they get it set up, they help price it. Some of them even help promote it. They'll do a promotional video that we'll share on our social media, and it's from 10 to 2 p.m. every Friday. We usually have a performer from the community singing or playing. Last month we had Nick Ewing, who played the violin. We have a food truck that comes, so it's a really wonderful.
It's like a street party.
It is.
And it's right at your place, right?
Yes, yeah, and the outdoor space that we have, which we're really fortunate. We have a lot of great spaces to celebrate and participate and express. The artists can express themselves and have.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a dance party that the artists have during that, and the public's welcome to take part in it.
Well, there you go, Mom. We said we were going to come over and see Creative Clay.
Come on
so
a
there
Friday.
we go, coming on Fridays.
Yes.
And you said that was the first Friday.
So November 4th is the next one, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's our transition student artist, and that's a partnership with Pinellas County Public Schools. They have several transition programs. The one that they have at Creative Clay is arts focused, and they teach. We have a Pinellas County Schools teacher and her assistant that teaches job skills as well as art. So those artists who are in the special education program, they're 18 to 22 years old, so they're finishing up their public education.
Okay.
And they're in that program, but they also work with our artists to put on the market every month.
Oh, that's so nice.
So it's great to collaborate.
It
as
is,
well.
and it sounds like, I've always felt that St. Petersburg was so blessed with great art and great food. I've never had a bad meal in St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
And the whole city, I think, has this, and all the residents have this sort of artsy, foodie kind of culture going on.
Yeah,
So it's
definitely.
like, you can feel it. It's like an energy and a synergy that goes on between the whole community.
It is. It really is community driven, and it's arts driven. Right now we've got the Shine Mural Festival that just started. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's in its 7th year, and so there's artists, they're local artists, national artists, and some international artists that come and paint murals on the sides of buildings. We have one that was a community mural project on the side of our building, and our artists are going to be taking part in one of them too. There's going to be a community mural painting that's part of the Shine Mural Festival. So they'll be taking play part of it in some capacity throughout the next couple weeks. But come on over to see the murals as well while you're visiting Creative Clay.
Oh,
So-
I loved visiting St. Petersburg. I really do. If you're just joining me now and connecting with Kim, my guest in the chair is Kerry Kriseman, who is the Public Relations Manager for Creative Clay, which is located in St. Petersburg. And it is a venue and a mission that allows challenged folks, and they could be many ages, to come and create art and let their inner life come out for the public to see and to be able to sell their art and to make money off of it and to grow and develop. Did I paraphrase that okay?
Yes, yes.
So we've talked about how Creative Clay started in 1995. We talked about the kind of folks that come in and work there and contribute, and we've talked about some of the outlets they have for selling their art. So tell me more. How is Creative Clay, funded?
We are funded through donations, like many nonprofits. We have a loyal list of sponsors, as well as new sponsors coming on board, pretty frequently, which we're really fortunate. I think the key is when we tell our story and when we get the opportunity to welcome someone into our space, which means that they get to see art in action, and then they get to meet our artists as well. They're sold, maybe not at that moment, but they are sold. They may come back for an event. They may decide to come on as a sponsor. So, our sponsorships, we have the Good Folk Society, which is a monthly giving program, and the donors who join the Good Folk Society can set how much they want to donate per month, and it can be automatically billed or however you want to set it up. So we get funding through that way. We have people who just love Creative Clay that will decide to have a Facebook fundraiser for their birthday and raise $500 maybe, for that. And we're also
that's fun. We didn't talk about that. So
Yeah.
you could have private events there too at Creative Clay, right?
Not actually events there,
Oh, okay.
Because especially during COVID, we haven't been set up for that.
Right.
We're still kind of staffing, not everybody in every day, just to keep it as safe as we can. But we also have some grants that we've been rewarded or awarded, and from the state, we've had some state funding, funding from the City of St. Pete, arts grants, and other funding sources that we're really grateful for, that we don't take for granted, but that we are grateful for, that help us, that go directly into our programming. Everything we raise, we have a creative thrift in-house store for repurposed art supplies, frames, books, fabric, anything creative. People donate it. They can get a tax receipt if they want, and then shoppers come in and they pay what they wish, and all proceeds benefit our program. So combined,
that's wonderful.
every year we have a fundraiser called Spring for the Arts. Next year it is April 21st. In St. Pete, and that's a lot of fun. It's
Like a citywide event?
Well, everyone's invited. We have it at an event space. Last year it was at Nova St. Pete, which is a beautiful event space, indoor and outdoor, bricked walls and high ceilings, and we have live music, the silent auction. We have artist performances. We have art for sale. We have the photo booth. Just a fun event, and that's our primary fundraiser that we have every year. And we try to maybe intersperse a couple different ones throughout the year. But again, COVID has changed the way a lot of organizations operate.
Well, COVID has changed the entire world.
It has.
There's like before COVID and then after COVID, but there's never going to be going back to before COVID.
No, there isn't. So we're grateful that we were able to bring Spring for the Arts back last year after 2 years of not having it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely between sponsors, fundraiser, Facebook fundraisers, our creative thrift in-house store, and Good Folk Society, and the grants that we apply for and receive. That's how we're funded. And we are funded when we serve our member artists. We are paid through the state, but it's a very small percentage for what our teaching artists do and serving the artists and our operational costs. What the state is able to repay back, doesn't scratch the surface almost. No, but we're grateful.
Yeah,
we're still grateful.
It usually doesn't, but it's a start.
Yes.
It's still something.
And so that's why we rely on the other funding sources.
So how big is the space that you have in St. Pete?
It's about 5,000 square feet.
Oh,
So
wow.
we've got, you walk in and there's a good folk gallery right to your left. It's pretty open. You go down a hallway full of art. We've got some offices off to the side. And then we've got our main classroom, which is our community arts program. We have a music room. We have a couple other classrooms. And then we have our transition students, the students from Pinellas County, our transition student artists are in another classroom. And we have creative thrift. So I probably just named at least 8 different rooms.
Yeah, in 5,000 square foot. You make very efficient use of the space.
We do.
And then you have the outdoor part.
And the outdoor part, which we're grateful for that. Like I said, with taking breaks from the masks and, and just being able to move about. We all need to move and not
And be
sit
out
all
in nature.
day. Yeah. So.
That sounds wonderful. So help me understand, so what would be, I mean, every organization has goals, right? I mean, you always have to develop and change and grow. So what would be things that our Creative Clay is looking maybe to do in the future that they haven't done yet?
I think anytime we can share our art with the greater public outside of St. Pete, even within St. Pete, but with the outside, then we're sharing our story and we're creating inclusiveness. We're teaching people about ability versus disability,
right?
And so I think our goals are maybe to get into galleries outside of this area. We have some art that's going to be going to a gallery in New York, and it could move on to Paris after that if selected. This is a new venture that has just happened, and so we're excited about that. But the more people that can learn about us, and maybe even partnering with other like-minded organizations, there's a lot of organizations around the country that are like Creative Clay, that are in Texas and California, and similar size, a similar mission, and the same type of people, audience that we serve. Maybe partnering with them, maybe with an art exchange. In the past, we've had a wonderful 20-year relationship with Japan at Takamatsu. Takamatsu is St. Petersburg's sister city, and our former executive director and founder created that relationship when she was at a conference talking about the concept of Creative Clay, and there was somebody from a similar organization in Takamatsu that was there and wanted to learn more, like, how do we do this here? And thus a relationship was born. And last year St. Pete celebrated their 60th anniversary of the Sister City Partnership, and Creative Clay celebrated along with them by doing an art exchange. There were fans sent back and forth.
Very cool.
They sent Creative Clay, our artists painted them. Our artists did line drawings of pelicans, which is St. Petersburg's bird, and sent them over to Japan, and their artists painted them. And then there was an exhibit at the St. Petersburg Museum of History. So that kind of international partnership that's enduring is really something that we're proud of and excited about. And
you should be. That is just amazing.
So I think, back to your original question, is just getting the art out more and more. And we're lucky and fortunate that we have a lot of community partnerships that get our art out into different venues, like USF St. Pete, Eckerd College in the past, and people's offices. We just had an exhibit go up at Community Foundation of Tampa Bay in St. Pete.
We love the Community Foundation of Tampa Bay here at TDAE.
Yeah.
How many people, I probably should have backtracked earlier, but how many people participate overall in Creative Clay?
We serve about 30 artists each day.
Okay.
So, and they come on different days. And so our transition class has about 10 or 12, but they're Pinellas County school students.
Right.
But still, they're in our space and working. Right. And we have an open studio that we have one day a week, one afternoon. People can come, from the community if they want to just create and use our studio. And so we have a few drop-ins and so forth. But we have about, 30 to 40, and that fluctuates depending on their needs or, during COVID, we were fortunate to be funded by one of our sponsors and longtime Creative Clay friends to do virtual programming called Creative Clay Connects. And we had, most of our artists were able to participate. Some didn't want to do that type of, which there's a lot of people that don't want to do Zoom.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, we serve, those about 30 or so.
So you have a social media presence too,
yes,
right?
Yes, we do.
You have, let's see, you have creativeclay.org, which is your website.
right.
I've been to your website. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
It's everything you would think a Creative Clay website would be, right?
Thanks.
You have social media presence on Facebook, also on Instagram or other
We
social
are on
platforms?
Instagram as well. Instagram is Creative Clay St. Pete, and we're on Instagram. We're on Twitter at Creative Clay, and we're on LinkedIn. That's more business to business, but we're there. We share our stories on LinkedIn as well, and we have a YouTube page that has a lot of videos too.
That's probably where you
know.
sent me the video from, right?
Yes,
The YouTube page.
yes.
So where are you physically located in St. Petersburg? I think we ought to cover that.
Sure. We are in the Grand Central District at 1846 First Avenue South. So we are, right. It's a great district.
Right in the thick of things.
We are.
Yeah.
We got a brewery not far. We've got, like I said, Vertical Ventures nearby. We just had a great new. I haven't tried it yet, but I trust it's fantastic from what I've heard. Good Intentions, all vegan restaurant that opened, and I think we're going to do some work with them possibly. Reaching out to our neighbors. Tom Below Books and Black Crow Coffee are not far from there. So it's a great neighborhood that we're in. Lots of other really nice businesses, and we're not too far from the Warehouse Arts District, which is where a lot of working artists are housed, and some live there, and so.
Wonderful. Well, we're just about out of time, so I want to give you a chance before we sign off to make an appeal to our listening and watching audience of anything that you would like for Creative Clay.
Okay.
So just look, that's your camera, so just look right in there.
Thank you for that opportunity. As you know, Creative Clay is a nonprofit in St. Pete that serves adults with developmental disabilities and neuro differences. I invite you to come in and visit our Good Folk Gallery and see our art and meet our artists and even take a tour. You can email admin@creativeclay.org to reach out, and somebody will get back to you and set up a tour. But come in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We also have a Friday art market on the first Friday of every month during the school year. Our next art market is November 4th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We'll have British Food Stop there, food truck, and we'll have a performer playing live music. So, but go to our website, learn more about us. We have an online exhibit, an online gallery. You can purchase art right from our gallery. Follow us on social media. We'll follow you back. Like our Facebook page, and just learn more about us and learn how we create equality through art.
Well, I want to thank my guest today on Connecting with Kim, Kerry Kriseman from Creative Clay in St. Petersburg. It's been a real pleasure to have you on the show. And people, get out there and visit and buy art. That's the most important thing. Because art enriches your life no matter where you live, no matter what your space is. Art is good for your body, your mind, and your soul. Right, Birdie? Birdie's in the background there. So I want to tell you about, I'm over time, but I'm going to take the time anyway. We are having an open house here at Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network on Friday, December 2nd. It's called the Jingle Mingle, and it's going to be from 5 to 9. So if you have ever wondered about what goes on at TBAE, what our studios look like, what our staff looks like, what we do here, this is your opportunity to come and join us. There'll be lots of fun people hanging around. There's going to be all kinds of things to do, food and prizes and games and so on and so forth. And it's just going to be the most wonderful event, and it's the first they've ever had at TBAE. So we want to support our partners, again, because arts is in our name. And so I want to thank you for that. Come and join us. And this is all we have time for today. We'll be back next week with another edition of Connecting with Kim, because that goal of this show is to help you live your best life in our corner of paradise, and it is paradise. Take care. Bye-bye.